Every Wednesday for Black History Month, we've been featuring an African American who is a leader in one of the pillars of society. These individuals are at the top of their game and dedicated to giving Black culture a positive push forward. It's week 3, so get ready. It's time to applaud the culture. So before we meet our first guest, let's find out a little more about her. Check this out.
Catherine Brewton is one of the music industry's leading executives. As the vice president of the music publishing company, BMI, she is not only a mentor, but she is dedicated to developing the next generation of artists and music executives of color. In 2013, she was named Billboard's Woman of the Year. She most recently established the Barbara Brewton Hope for Harvest Youth Center, which aims to empower the youth. So, Catherine, we applaud you for your impact on the culture.
Joining us now is the Vice President of Writer and Publisher Relations for BMI, Catherine Brewton. Welcome to the show, Catherine.
Thank you, ladies. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Catherine.
So good to see you. Hi. Hi.
Beautiful today. You're glowing.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
being with
much.
us. Of
So
course.
happy to be here.
Us too. So, Catherine, Broadcast Music Inc., also known as BMI, is one of the largest performance rights organizations in the U.S., and you are the VP. So tell us exactly, what do you do?
So I run R&B, hip hop, and gospel for BMI, dealing with creatives and who are songwriters, composers, publishers, and writers, producers, really making sure that when they sign up with BMI, they understand the business of the music game, and also that we become a conduit with connecting the dots. So I also produce the BMI Trailblazers Awards. I also produce the BMI R&B Hip Hop Awards. So all things related to the repertoire of BMI in R&B, hip hop, and gospel, and still also mess around a little bit in country and some of the other areas, but really just making sure that creatives who walk through our door, we equip them with the tools they need to be successful in the business.
Wow, so in other words, you're very busy.
Very.
As a Black woman, I want to ask you, in this role, what type of obstacles have you had to overcome or are still struggling with?
You know, I think the expectations are always that we have to be better than our colleagues or be better in delivering the goods to the respective people that we serve. I started my career as a financial analyst at GE. Then I was recruited by the Grammys to open the Atlanta chapter of the Recording Academy, and then was recruited by BMI, where I've been for over 20 years. And in this role, I've just really tried to pride myself in developing future leaders. It's not enough for me to be one of one. I want to make sure that any and everybody, whether it's a songwriter or an intern coming through the door, that I make myself available to mentor, to teach, and then just to make sure that I'm helping people who cross my path be better in whatever role they want to become in.
And you're amazing at it, because you've been a part of my life forever. When I was in the music industry as a teenager and seeing you do incredible things, especially as a woman and a Black woman doing just amazing things. You've honored my husband as a trailblazer and so many other things.
I love so much.
I am so curious, why do you feel that it's important for other Black and brown little girls and boys to see that they can be a leader just like you in the entertainment industry?
Because I think sometimes minorities or people of color get seen in one respect. And what I want people to do, and this is why I mentor and I show up at colleges and I show up at, events that are charity events, because I want people to understand that they're no different from me. I just chose a different path. I made decisions that really allowed me to be successful. But then I didn't get in a cocoon and alienate people who were not successful. I showed up at schools. I mentor. I set up time where I go and volunteer. I have my nonprofit, which is Hope for Harvest. And I'm boots on the ground. I'm teaching classes. I'm helping kids, in every way I can.
That's fantastic, And in your role, what are some of the ways you give Black culture a positive push forward?
Just through the efforts through Hope for Harvest. I'm also the co-chair of the Georgia Entertainment Caucus. Atlanta we'll be announcing the Black Music Walk of Fame that I, for the past 2 years with so many wonderful people, will be announcing our first nomination, and we'll be inducting in June for Black Music Month, our 10 first inductees, similar to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So
Great.
Preservation and culture is so important. And for those of us who have been around long enough to understand the importance of some of the greats like Otis Redding during Black History Month, and James Brown and Patti LaBelle, we have to preserve these, you know, the greats. And
Yes, we
how do we
do.
move forward except we celebrate those who have gone before us? So I want to be a part of really changing the narrative and living it, not just talking about it.
And you know, Catherine, you mentioned earlier about Harvest for Hope. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So when my mom died in '07, I was left with this enormous amount of real estate in this facility that for about 20 years had fed the poor, they had housing for men and women coming out of prison. And she died, and I was left with this responsibility to go and continue her work. And I didn't understand the mission, but so many people, Khaled and Busta and Rodney Jerkins, came to my aid and said, how can we help? And even Israel, like they performed. So I've continued this work, but I shifted to ensure that kids are not at the point of being homeless. My mission was always, if we give kids the tools and show them a better way, they don't have to end up like their parents on the streets or in shelters. So that's been the most important work I've done in my life, is really being able to see these kids come in broken and disenfranchised. You love up on them, and then you find out that they just needed an opportunity to see people and for us to extend the olive branch. So it's been the biggest blessing in my life. I don't get paid for it, but that's the most important work that I've done in my career.
There we go.
That's
Incredible.
fantastic. Catherine, thank you so much for sharing your story and chatting with us today. We here at The Real are so proud of you for all that you're doing, and we want to wish you a continued success.
Thank you so much, ladies.